Hello student, I'm here with a new video, new topic of thermodynamics, Carnot cycle. And I have told you in our last lecture that is all about the heat engine, heat pump and refrigerator. We have discussed all these things in our previous topic and previous video. Now, if you look at this screen, you see there is three things are there. Actually, one is four-stroke heat engine, another is heat pump, and another is refrigerator is there. So this is the example of previously described things. One thing, this four-stroke heat engine, most of the heat engine actually works in that particular area. Most of the four-wheeler, there a heat engine is there, and that a heat pump, one of the example is there, and refrigerator is there. And now before starting, I want to come historical background of that particular heat engine, right? Now whenever I want to describe this heat engine, the first name is come to our mind, that is Sadi Carnot. Sadi Carnot is the French mechanical engineer, and at the age of 27 he is able to prepare a heat engine, and sometimes he is called father of thermodynamics, and his work is in later case is utilized by the Clausius and the Kelvin also, and whenever we want to measure the randomness of a system, this work is very much needed in that particular case. So first person, Carnot, Sadi Carnot, describe and derive and able to form a heat engine having the efficiencies is equal to 1. Before that, I want to tell you, in normal case, you can't construct a heat engine having the efficiency equal to 1 or greater than 1, because I have told you, whenever you are preparing some heat engine, as there is so many heat loss is there, as there is so many frictional forces are there, you can convert all the heat into work. So efficiency is never is equal to or greater than 1. It's less than 1. But Sadi Carnot is first able to construct a heat engine that have efficiency equal to 1. That is normally not happen. But he is the first person propose or able to prepare or design a heat engine. So that is why Sadi Carnot, in his name, that particular topic is all about. So come to the second slide. I want to go through an introduction about in that particular matter. I have already told you that it is impossible to flow of heat from a hotter body to colder body without any help of any others. But sometimes colder body to hotter body, it is also possible. But from colder body to heat flow to the hotter body, it is again the spontaneity. The spontaneity is normally from a hotter body to heat flow to the colder body. Normally that happens. The waters always flow from the higher altitude to the lower altitude. That's the theory, that's the spontaneity. But whenever you did these types of transfer from hotter body to colder body or colder body to hotter body, you need some engine. It may be heat engine, it may be heat pump, it may be refrigerator. That all about the second law of thermodynamics told. Okay. Now, normally heat engine that is related with the Carnot cycle, how it is related? All the heat engine normally does in that way. It takes up heat from the higher reservoir and it performs some amount of work, and rest of the heat it go to the sink having the lower heat, right? And heat pump and refrigerator just reverse of it, right? As today's topic is all about the heat engine and it is all about related with the Carnot cycle, so I will just discuss this particular things over there. And another thing I want to tell you, here I am giving you one example, image. You are seeing one image of bike is there. Bike is a heat engine, but it is two-stroke. Now in the second part, I will tell you why that car and why that particular bike that I give you the example of it. Come to the next slide. So this is all about the Carnot cycle. Carnot cycle is all about having the 4 steps involved in it. Step 1, it is isothermal reversible expansion, where T is 0 and dq is also 0. And second step is adiabatic reversible expansion. And the third step, isothermal reversible compression. And the fourth step, adiabatic reversible compression. Now you look at these particular things, there is 4 steps are there. Isothermal reversible expansion 1, adiabatic reversible expansion is 2, isothermal reversible compression is 3, and the adiabatic reversible compression is 4. As that is 4 steps are there, this is the mechanism of the 4-stroke engine. That car, I have given the example before the starting of the lecture. That is 4-stroke. If any 2-stroke, normally for a bike, there is only 2 steps is there, any 2. So if we construct a heat engine, there is a particular, in PV diagram, is just show this particular matter, PV diagram. So there is, first step is step A, where is the initial step where the ideal gas present over there in the condition of P1 V1 at the temperature T1. And the second step, when it goes to the isothermal reversible expansion, it goes to the B, where the state is P2 V2 T1, right? Temperature is not changing. It is isothermal process. Okay, that's the first step. Second step, from B to C, that is adiabatic reversible expansion is there. There is temperature changes is there. So from P2 V2 it goes to P3 V3, but temperature is changes. It is now T2. And the third step, it goes from C to D. From P3 V3 T2, it is go to the P4 V4 T2. It is a isothermal reversible compression. As it is isothermal, temperature is fixed. Now in the fourth step, it goes from D to A. It is the last step, which is the adiabatic reversible compression is there. And one thing I want to tell you, that first step, A to B, that is the only step the heat engine takes energy or heat. It takes heat. And the third step, from C to D, it gives the rest of the heat to the sink, and in between it doing some amount of work. Now we go to the second slide. It will be much more easier to all of you. Now his question is that what types of work is going on. So there 4 steps is there, and what types of work is going on. So this is all about, I have written over there, just look at this matter, I'm telling you. So actually there is 4 steps are there. Normally there is 4 steps are there. First step, the first step 1, isothermal reversible expand. Okay, so it goes from, in that manner, from point 1 P1 V1 to point B P2 V2, right? This is the condition. So the work W1 for this case is nothing but nRT ln V2 by V1. That the expansion work is there. That also Q1 also. That also Q1. That the heat it absorbed. In the second step, step 2, this is nothing but adiabatic reversible expansion. Okay. So in that case, his work is W2. So in that case, it is go from B to C. B to C. In B case, there the condition is this one, P2 V2. And from there it goes P3 V3. From here temperature T1, in that case temperature is changing, it's T2. Now work in that case is W2 T2 is equal to NR T2 minus T1 1 minus gamma. This gamma is nothing but Cp by Cv that I have already discussed with you. This is step 2. Now step 3. Step 3 is the isothermal reversible compression. Just mind it. This was their expansion and this one is the compression, or totally reverse. For that case, it is go from C to D. In C, it was there P3, V3 and T2. In that case, it is go to P4, V4 and T2. Why this temperature is not changing? Because it is isothermal. That is the main thing. And in that case, the work W3 is equal to nRT ln V4 by V3, right? And in the last step 4, as I told you, this is adiabatic reversible compression, right? Look at that, these things. This was the step 2 was adiabatic reversible expansion over there, but this one is a compression. That is, it is compressed. The volume is lowering, and in that case it goes to D to A. That means D P4 V4 T2 to P1 V1 T1. Mind it, here is temperature is changing because in adiabatic process there is temperature changes is there. In that case, actually dq is equal to 0. In that case also, adiabatic case, dq is equal to 0. But in isothermal case, dq is not equal to 0, right? This is the main thing. And now here, you don't confuse in that particular things that I am giving one thing here. Don't confuse. Here I am giving one picture where is the heat source is the fuel. Normally, in a particular car, you use fuel, anything, diesel or petrol you use. There is a heat source is there, and the heat taken, I am written over there Q1, but here is QH. Don't actually think anything wrong. Both are the same. This approach is both the same. And in that case, whenever you are filling up some amount of fuel, and definitely the bike or car, it driving that car and it doing some amount of work. After that some of heat is liberating from that. Definitely whenever a car is running for some time, there is a heat is generating in its engine. That is the go to the sink, that is QL. So we want to come to the next thing, that is now how the efficiency calculation is there. Now this is the main thing. This is the main thing for any heat engine. Whatever you construct a heat engine, that heat engine should be efficient, and you should think that particular point, that whatever you prepare, how much efficient it is. That is the main thing. Any scientist, whatever we prepare, after that we have to know that how much it is useful. In that particular heat engine, what Carnot did, he find out the efficiency of a heat engine. Now what I told, what is efficiency? Efficiency means how much amount of work you are obtaining from the car, how much fuel you are giving. That means your mileage. Per liter, how much the mileage is there. That means if a car in 1 liter diesel or petrol, it gives greater mileage, so you definitely say the efficiency of that particular engine is very good. But it normally does not happen because so many frictional forces are there, so many heat losses are there. So therefore efficiency always less than that 1. So what actually the measurement of efficiency? Work divided by heat. That is that I want to derive in that particular fashion. Okay. Now we come to know these things. The work done first step, work done second step, work done in third step and fourth step, that we have done. Now efficiency means work by heat absorb. Only this particular phase it is heat absorbed. Work is nothing but, total work is nothing but W1 plus W2 plus W3 plus W4. So we will write over there. So total work is W1 plus W2 plus W3 plus W4 divided by the heat, that is nothing but Q1. Okay. Now if we put the value, it is nRT ln V2 by V1 plus nR T2 minus T1 divided by 1 minus gamma plus nRT, sorry, before one thing I want to correct over there, this is one mistake I have correct. Here as the temperature is T1, this one will be T1, and here the temperature is T2. For such that particular case T2 is there, so you have to write T2. So that correction I have done here. This is T1. Now this one T2 ln V4 by V3. Then another thing is another thing is this adiabatic work that I am written over there. nR T1 minus T2 divided by 1 minus gamma whole divided by Q1. Here Q1 is this one, this work. So we will write this nR T1 ln V2 by V1. Now if you look at this particular two things, it's very necessary here. We just adiabatic these two work. If we take minus over there, then it will be T2 minus T1. Then these two things will cancel out. Two adiabatic work is cancel out. Now what is the situation right now? The situation nR T1 ln V2 by V1 plus nR T2 ln V4 by V3 divided by nR T1 ln V2 by V1. Just you divide all these things, it will be this divided by this goes to 1 plus this divided by this, nR is cancel out, T2 by T1 ln V4 by V3 divided by ln V2 by V1. Now this thing is problematic, and we will solve this problem from 4 step over there. As it is isothermal reversible expansion, so it will follow the Boyle's rule, P1 V1 equal to P2 V2. In that case, it is like in that manner, as it is a adiabatic process. So in that case, P2 V to the power gamma, P3 V3 to the power gamma, right? And it is isothermal, so we can write P3 V3 is equal to P4 V4, as is a isothermal. Now for adiabatic case, it also we can write in that fashion. It is like that, P4 V4 to the power gamma, P1 V1 to the power gamma. So we write these things in a closed manner. So it is look like P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2, right? One thing. And second thing, this one, P2 V to the power gamma, P3 V3 to the power gamma. And third one, P3 V3 P4 V4. Okay. And the last one, P4 V4 to the power gamma, P1 V1 to the power gamma. Now you just multiply all these things. This one thing, P1 P2 P3 P4, and this side also P1 P2 P3 P4, P1 P2 P3 P4, and this side V1 is there. Now you take this to this side, so it will be V1 1 minus gamma, V3 over there, you put this one this side, V3 1 minus gamma. Now another things you can draw particular V3 you have done, and V4 in that side, V2 in that side, right? So what happened? V2 1 minus gamma into V4 1 minus gamma. Now look at that. This is cancel out. This is cancel out. What is there? V1 1 minus gamma, V3 1 minus gamma, and here V2 1 minus gamma and V4 1 minus gamma. Now you just omit this gamma, so it will come to this relationship V1 V3 is equal to V2 V4, and from here we can write V2 by V1, V2 by V1, that is V3 by V4. So we can also write V4 by V3 to the power inverse 1. Just put this value over there, put this value over here, so it will look like this. The shortage of place, so I'm writing over there. So you just put these things over there. So what over here actually? So one efficiency is 1 plus T2 by T1 ln in respect to V4 by V3. You can write this V4 by V3 V4 by V3 to the power inverse V2 by V3. We can write V2 by V1 to the power inverse and ln V2 by V1. So when this inverse come out, that will be 1 minus T2 by T1. That is the efficiency of a heat engine. And you can sometimes it is, you can write in that way, it is 1 minus the temperature at the sink divided by temperature at the source. So you can write in that heat fashion the heat over Q2 divided by Q1. That means in the previous case you can write also 1 minus QH by QL, as I am already giving you that particular thing. That is all about the efficiency calculation. That is all about the efficiency calculation that I have already done. It is so. If you see that efficiency 1 minus T2 by T1, so there is a minus term is there. Whatever the heat engine you prepare, the 1 minus something is there. And as the temperature is a positive value, definitely it having some amount of positive value. So it is impossible to design a heat engine having efficiency equal to 1. It is always less than 1. That is the real heat engine. Okay, come to the next slide, and we finished in that these things here. And thank you for watching. And before that, I want to tell all of you that it is impossible to design a heat engine that having the efficiency is equal to 1 or greater than 1. So we also have discussed these things, also have derived the efficiency of a heat engine, that already we have derived. Then another things, the problem related all this heat engine I will discuss in our next topic. Thank you so much for this staying with me for this video. And we will discuss these things in all the problem we will discuss in later on. Thank you so much. Thank you.